Hello, my name is Chuck Sacco, LeBeau MBA, class of 2006, and welcome to this session about mentoring for the Global Night of Networking. My current role is Drexel University, Assistant Dean at the School of Entrepreneurship, and also Director of the Baiada Institute for Entrepreneurship. And today we're doing a segment with a couple of our entrepreneurs and one of our mentors and talk about the role of mentoring here at Drexel. So I wanted to make some introductions to our entrepreneurs, so I'll ask everyone to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Adria. So Adria, if you could describe yourself, your company, your background, and a little bit about what you're doing.
So my name's Adria. I'm one of the incubated companies here. My company is called Purple Cloud Technologies. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders. I'm a Drexel alumni. I graduated in 2012. And essentially what my company does is we have a real-time task management platform with a data analysis portion to it for the hospitality industry.
Great, great. So tell us a little bit, how important has mentoring been in the development of your startup?
So I've had a lot of different types of mentors in my company, not only personal mentors, but now as my company's developed over time, I now have more advisors that are tied to my company. But I would say in the earlier stages of my company, mentors were extremely very, very useful to me because when I started the company, I was a student. I didn't have a lot of experience starting a company, and when I was speaking to mentors, they're really what gave me the push and the motivation to actually start the company. So for me, it was everything. It was really important.
That's great. So really key to help you get started and get it off the ground. Okay, that's good. So Pete, your Drexel Affiliation company, what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm a senior at Drexel University right now, studying computer science with a minor in entrepreneurship and math. I have a incubated company here in Baiada as well. And I also got the chance to do the Entrepreneurship Co-op, which is a 6-month experience to launch a company and really get a lot of mentorship through that as well.
Great. So what type of mentoring have you received here at Drexel?
So I received quite a bit of mentorship, actually. Just people through the closed school, as well as Alumni of Agile Therapeutics outside, and different professors with just questions about how to go through the process of starting a company. Because really what it lets you do is avoid mistakes that other people have made, and also shows you where to look for the right resources or provides things for you.
That's great. Now, how have you been connected to mentors here?
Mostly through the closed school. So when I did the Entrepreneurship Co-op, every 2 weeks I met with a mentor. And also I was connected with Alumni, who I mentioned before. And we would meet up. He'd help me with my business plan quite a bit, and just really good idea guy, so we can bounce back and forth a couple things.
Okay, that's great. That's good. So Chris,
Yes.
Let's hear about your Drexel affiliation and what you do today.
I am a Drexel alum. Graduated MBA 2011. During the day, I'm a lawyer, mostly in commercial litigation and corporate practice.
Okay. And you're involved with the Baiada Institute mentoring program here.
Yes.
So how long have you been a mentor, and what's your role kind of in the center and everything that you do from a mentoring perspective?
Well, when I graduated in 2011, I wanted to remain part of Drexel. And I was seeking out opportunities to volunteer, and the opportunity to be a volunteer business mentor came by. The former director of Baiada was a professor of mine. So this is now going 3 years.
That's great.
3 years in October.
That's great. And what type of mentoring programs are you involved with here at Baiada, and how often are you involved?
Well, Baiada has a mentoring program for anybody who has a business idea, anywhere from just an idea concept to someone's working on a business plan to someone who actually has a service and product that's being offered to clients and customers already. And every Wednesday we meet in the Baiada Institute, roughly from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The sessions are about 1 hour for each individual who comes in.
Okay, great. And at what stage do you see startups? Do you see very early stage, just the idea stage, or do you see more later stage, or do you see a mix?
Everything. We see everything from basically with someone coming in with just an idea to someone who's taken time to write out a concept of the idea to a full-length business plan to actually having a business and just seeking advice how to build that business.
That's great.
So we see everything.
You see everything. Okay, pretty wide range. Okay, that's great. So great introduction, everybody. So Adria, I wanted to ask you a little bit about mentoring interactions, and Can you describe a time when mentoring interaction had some very significant impact, and whether it was in the early stages of your business or even more recently? So it'd be great to hear some of that.
As far as mentoring goes, when I was still working in the hospitality industry, I originally, fully anticipated to go through the corporate ladder in the hospitality industry. And when I was there, I picked mentors that, were very high up, that had had years and years of experience in hospitality. And I started talking to them, and, basically through daily conversations with my mentors within the hospitality space is where I discovered that this need was actually real. And my mentors there, since they were so well connected, are what, they put me in the right places to learn what I needed to learn to start this company. So it was really just through, telling them what I was thinking and, where I was hoping to go, and them allowing, they basically opened the doors for me to get that experience that enabled me to start this company. So for me, it was, hugely important to stay connected to those mentors.
Okay. Anything more recently?
Yeah, so as far as recently go, I've transitioned away from mentors and again, more towards, very formal advisors for my company, because as, my company started growing, I wanted to have these names that were, very involved in my company to be able to, talk in public about them. So at this point we have, Carl Wilson, which is the former CIO of Marriott, on our advisory board, and he's been extremely useful. And not only just from validating the idea, when you have someone on a C-level executive, one of the biggest hotel chains in the world, validating your idea, but also trying to help you and connect you with the right people. It's really how you get successful, is learning from their experiences and gaining from their connections.
That's great. Actually, and think about that, have you had the opportunity now, since you've had a few years in your startup, to mentor very early stage startups like Chris talked about? We have a lot of idea stage ventures coming into the center. Yeah,
absolutely. People have met, I've put on some workshops, and there's a lot of times that people come up to me afterwards and ask me questions. And there's definitely been people who they ask me what Pete was saying, where do I get these resources to start? And having been through that process and saying, okay, the law school gives out free legal advice here, because they need to do some mock stuff so that they can get experience, and just connecting them with the right places. So at this point, I've definitely been a mentor. I wouldn't say that I'm officially anyone's mentor right now, just because to be a good mentor, you have to have the time to be a good mentor.
That's a good point.
And I'm traveling a lot, so it's hard for me to say, okay, I can meet with you every whatever. But definitely here and there, people come and ask me questions. Even I've hired a lot of co-ops since I started. I think I've had 5 cycles of co-ops at this point. And a lot of my co-ops that I hire are entrepreneurial majors, entrepreneurship majors, and they want to start something eventually. So usually they work with me, and obviously I have tasks to give them. But if they have extra passion and want to learn something specific, like how to do a pitch deck that it might not be in my role for the position,
right,
but I'll definitely show them, and I'll definitely show them where the best resources are to make that better, connect them with my connections. So there's a lot of ways to.
So something, that kind of peer mentoring becomes pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually along that same line, Pete, so have you had mentors from other startups that maybe are just a few years ahead of you, as well as have you had mentors that have been older, more longer in business, have more experience? Have you had both sets of those?
Yeah, I would say that going through Drexel and just being in the space and being around all these people that have done, all these startups, you can really call a lot of different people a mentor. Like the degree that they mentor you is a little bit different, So let's say Al, he's way more involved maybe than somebody else that I speak with, like in the incubator. But at the same time, really, it's just exchanging ideas, exchanging knowledge, and really building off of each other, as you were saying. So yeah, I've definitely been connected with people in the startup space. Also, not just in the Baiada incubator. There's a number of different incubators around, and just like connecting with a bunch of different people that are starting companies. And yeah, so it's really good to get connected with everybody like that and really just build off each other.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. So Chris, what do you like about mentoring?
Well, I would say there's 3 things I really like about mentoring. First, I truly believe there's a Google-sized idea lurking in the halls of Drexel. Everybody
there is.
Like I said that, but there is. And I like to find it, and I want to be part of it and help build it into the Google-sized business. Take the idea and build it into the business. Second, it's a way of giving back to Drexel. I mean, I earned my MBA here, and I want to remain part of the community.
That's great.
And third, it gives me a chance to work on my skill set.
That's great.
And that's really the main reasons why I take the time out to mentor.
That makes perfect sense.
Good question.
Hey, Andrea, you were mentioning earlier about mentors.
Mhm.
What happens when you have several mentors that are pushing you in different directions?
So yeah, I mean that happens all the time, from mentors to investors to everyone, to your own teammates, saying that. So what I think you have to do at the end of the day is understand that you're the one that's living with the decision that's being made. So what you do is you take this person's advice and this person's advice, and you think, first of all, anytime you even read an article, you want to know how experienced is that person in that field of advice. Is it just an educated guess that they're giving you, or have they gone through something really intense to give you that advice? And so therefore you have to take everything with a background check, basically, and then at the end of the day you have to do your own research too. So at the end of the day you just got to pick something that you can live with and feel like is the most strategic thing for your company.
And how do you follow up with the mentors?
Good
So
question.
yeah, I mean the thing is, I always make sure that they know that I took their advice and looked more into it. So because the last thing you want to do is make your mentor mad, because or make it seem that you're ungrateful for their advice. So I've definitely talked to people and said, that's really interesting advice, or good advice. It could be good for somebody else, but not necessarily me in my company. So I've definitely told them that I've looked into that situation, and we decided to go with this instead for these reasons. And usually if they're a good mentor, they'll understand. And if they're not, then maybe you should start talking to other mentors.
Good
That's
answer.
funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, to just follow up with that same question to Pete, I mean, if you had situations where you've had conflicting advice from mentors?
Yeah, I think so. And I think just like you said, you sort of have to take it with a grain of salt and adopt it to your idea of the business, because
Right.
ultimately it's your vision.
Exactly. Right.
And the mentors, they've made it work for something else.
Yeah.
So you try to adapt what you can and pull what you can out of their experiences, but ultimately, you've got to do what's right for your company. and
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. Yeah, internalizing it and making it your own is the most important thing. Yeah, that's good. Real quick question, Adria. How do you find your mentors?
So, like I said, when I was working in the hospitality industry, for me it was, that person's high up, that person's been places, has done things, and, they seem approachable. To me, I just walked up and, asked them to be my mentor. That was pretty much it. Now, as I'm trying to, get more into advisors and better, create an advisory board and ultimately a board of directors for my
Right.
company, it's been a lot more through connections, talking to people, trying to weave my way into higher networks and everything like that. So, it's just really been about going and putting myself out there at networking events, just talking to people about what I do. It's really important to just keep talking to people.
Right. Talk to as many people as possible about
Yeah,
what you're doing.
exactly.
Right, that's a really important question.
Yeah, so anyways, Pete, you're starting out now and you're still a student. Do you see yourself becoming a mentor, eventually in your role?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy, helping people out when I can, and I think that's what mentoring is. It really is just taking somebody that, needs some advice somewhere or just wants your point of view and passing your image on to, or your ideas on to them. I would love to do that if anybody ever had like a need for it, and if they really felt that I was somebody that could help them out, I would love to discuss with them anything I could. And actually, I think in Baiada, we do a lot of startup to startup, talks and just pass along ideas or say where we are and sort of give each other unsolicited advice sometimes.
Yeah.
But, and so you could say that's mentoring to a degree, I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely.
But it's again, it's not really being a mentor.
Right.
But to answer your question in short, if the opportunity presented itself, I'd love to.
Yeah. What you were describing there isn't really a structured mentoring process, more ad hoc, but sometimes those develop into interesting mentoring
Yeah.
relationships.
And I think those are so crucial in this space. It really just builds a community, saying what you're doing and where you're trying to go, and then letting other people get excited about your company and really get involved and really getting some great ideas as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay. Question last.
Chuck, before you came back home to Drexel, you were involved with some startups. Did
Yes.
you use any mentors?
Absolutely. We use startups at all stages of our development. And the one thing I found interesting about mentoring, at least the way we approached it, was We try to be, I think as Adria has done, very situational. So in the early stages of a startup, we found some great mentors who were very useful from a general sense. But as the business matured, what we found is we needed more specific domain expertise and higher levels of experience.
Where did you find your mentors?
So we actually, so my last company we actually incubated here in the Baiada Institute. So we found the mentors here within Baiada and within the Drexel ecosystem. But it's, as Pete had mentioned, a lot of networking. Going to conferences, going to events, finding a lot of online resources for mentoring. The landscape has changed a bit over the past few years. There's increasingly a number of interesting websites around mentoring and making mentoring connections. But we tried to make a lot of connections through the Drexel community. There's 150,000 Drexel alum around the world, or more, I believe. And within there's a lot of great people and resources that have either specific vertical market expertise or certain domain expertise, and we always seek to tap into them.
And the Baiada Institute has a website?
And the Baiada Institute has a website, yes, and we have a great mentoring resource on the website that you can connect to. So it's drexel.edu/Baiada, B-A-I-A-D-A. And that's a great resource, great website, not only to get information, but also to make a request to meet with a mentor and hopefully meet with Chris and someday with Adria and Pete to do some mentoring in the future, because we do try to make sure all of our entrepreneurs come back and do mentoring for the next generation of entrepreneurs. Well, thanks everybody. This was a great session, very, very good, very interactive. So Adria, Pete, Chris, again, thank you for your time as mentors. And your time here as entrepreneurs and working on your startups. And it's for Drexel alum, this is a great night to get involved, to go out and network and build relationships. Every company, every person needs help through their career and their business. So if you need help, get out. And if you are looking to provide help, get out and do that networking and stay connected to Drexel. And I want to thank you for your time today.